Hello and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager 4 stream. My name is Adam. I'm the Community Manager of Franchise Hockey. With me, as always, and pictured in the top right-hand corner of your screen is FHM producer Jeff.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year.
And yes, we're back in 2018 with our regular Wednesday night stream.
More or less recovered from the holidays.
And we're back with a slightly new Brandon Wheat Kings franchise.
Yeah, we started this before Christmas, and we're just going to keep going with it. We forgot to do a few things last time, so we're going to be getting around to doing them this year. We got off to a good start, 6-1 in the first 7 games. We've got the roster pretty much set at this point. Haven't made a lot of changes from the real Wheat Kings roster. They're doing pretty well in WHL this year. The Eastern Division is got 3 really strong teams, and I think it's in-game. It's starting to shape up pretty much the same way. You can see Swift Current and Moose Jaw are both, they both only have 1 loss. Well, Swift Current's got the extra overtime loss. And we're 6-1. We're on top right now, but they've got a couple of games in hand on us. Regina's in there too, but basically it's going to be between us, Moose Jaw, and Swift Current for first place in the East. We are in, well, the real Wheat Kings are in 3rd right now, but we're doing a little bit better than that. But last time out, we kind of forgot to set a bunch of stuff. So we got right into the game, but didn't set, we've got the manager options with everything set to human control, but we totally forgot to set the scouting and the coaching. So let's take care of that right now.
It happens.
And you can see this is a pretty, for WHL, this is a more than adequate number of scouts. Good coverage, a few local guys, some guys who can look after the whole league. And good balance between guys, between evaluating current ability and potential. Hunter, he's got the best at evaluating current ability, so he's going to get the job of looking at the whole WHL. And I don't think we need to have him specialized in any one area in particular.
Now, the WHL, for those of you not familiar or not from Canada or maybe the northwestern United States, is the Canadian junior hockey top league.
Yeah, major junior.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's basically 16 to 20-year-old players. If you're American, it's kind of the equivalent of college sports, only it's not colleges. It's locally run junior teams. Produces the 3 CHL leagues. WHL, OHL, and QMJHL produce. I think is it still a majority? Got to be pretty close, but isn't it?
Yeah.
A very large percentage of the NHL's players, put it that way.
Yeah, and all the best ones come from the WHL.
Or we like to think that, at least.
Except for the guys the Jets draft. Just gonna throw that in there too.
Well, Canucks haven't done much better with WHL guys lately either, so. Or lately being the last 20-odd years. Okay, what else? Basically, what I want to cover here is the league in general, just to get good scouting on all of our opponents and anybody we might potentially pick up in a trade, and then have other guys focusing on the draft.
Okay, while you're doing that,
Yep.
And setting, I got a question for you then, Jeff.
Yep, shoot.
So, for people not familiar with, you can see on our roster when we were on it before or in a previous episode that we do have some foreign players like Daniel Bukic. Sorry?
Bukic,
yeah. I guess he's the only one left. I think we maybe send somebody down?
We might have, yeah. But we can probably, if we need to, fill in with another foreign player. You're allowed 2 foreigners, and those are drafted at the. You see, there's a little note up here: CHL import draft log. Those are drafted just shortly after the regular Bantam draft. You draft in WHL. It's a little different from the other major junior leagues, they draft players, midget age players, which are 15-year-olds. We draft 14-year-olds. So you don't get any of those players until 2 years after you draft them, because they're in their first year they're too young to play. They're actually technically allowed 10 games plus the playoffs. In real life, that it doesn't work that way in the game right now. Hopefully, we're going to get that in working a little more accurately at some point.
Okay, but what I was going to say, which is why 2 years scouting, is as you mentioned, there's a CHL import draft, which is where all the CHL teams draft players from Canada or their American regions. Correct? Like Americans aren't part of the import draft.
No, it's any U.S. or Canadian players are taking the main draft, and the U.S. is both countries are divided up by region according to the 3 leagues. Quebec basically gets New England. Ontario gets most of the other eastern states and southeastern states, and the WHL gets everybody from, is it pretty much Illinois West, I think?
Pretty close to that, I think.
Yeah.
Not that many. So, I mean, in this part, you'll see lots of guys who in the USHL go college route. Regardless, my point was of all this, all of our scouts are focused in Western Canada, Manitoba too as well, just because that's where the Wheat Kings are based out of. Is there any point, if you're playing, to having a full scout to look at guys who could be playing?
You cut out there. What kind of scout? I missed the word.
Is there any point to having an import scout?
Yeah, it's not. The problem is there's such a big area to cover. It can be a little bit difficult to get all those guys, but I'll show you in a second what I'm going to do for that. Because you're basically having to look at the whole world outside of Canada and the U.S., which is a bit tall order for a single scout. Okay, I want that guy.
So is
draft. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that with Marahue here, who doesn't have a specialized region. And the way I'm going to do it, if I can get the thing to stick, is just assign him to the CHL import draft. That way he's only going to be looking at guys who are eligible for the draft, which is the players who have the the preference set for playing major junior hockey. So it'll only look at Europeans with that preference, which is a fairly small percentage of the overall number of European players. I'm going to have them look for quantity just so we try to get as many of them as possible. The only question really is, should I assign a second guy to it? And I think I will. We got one guy here who's just Manitoba.
I kind of like that you can set him to look for the CHL import draft, but do not include foreign players.
Yeah, that's you probably don't want to do that. I mean, there are a bunch of settings in here who would be you'd have to use a little bit of common sense when you're setting this up.
But I don't want any import players. What if I want him just scouting guys who happen to be abroad?
The 2 or 3 Canadian junior players who are... I think there's one Austrian program that gets a few Canadian guys, but...
And hi to Guru in the chat as well, and P-Wog, who's for the Red Wings, despite them not being at all in this game. And CS High 312 is also in the chat. So,
and one thing I'm doing here is assigning one guy to watch midget leagues, which is basically a catch-all for any guys who may have slipped through the regular draft. Fairly unlikely, but you never know. And I want to look for quality and potential there. Do I need to tighten that up at all? Yeah, actually I want to have him just looking. I think this guy is special. I'm going to have him only looking at the Manitoba leagues. Otherwise I'd get him, he'd wind up looking at some leagues in Eastern Canada, which would be useless to us. And how many guys do we have left? 4 guys here. I'm going to put one more on the WHL Bantam draft eligibility. Have him looking for quality. And you can see I'm setting all of these guys to a permanent setting in an 8-week, coming back and reporting every 8 weeks. And we will also put one guy on Junior B leagues for pretty much the same reason we wanted a guy on the midget leagues, although Yeah, I think I'll just have them looking at the local guys, Manitoba kids. Brandon's the only WHL team in Manitoba, so
But
they kind of have the whole province to themselves that way. But
but they really don't, because there seems to be one other WHL team that drafts probably the most amount of Manitobans. Can you name that team, Jeff?
I'm guessing Swift Current, maybe?
No, that is incorrect. It is actually one of the American teams.
Tri-Cities?
Yes. And very large amount of Manitobans in the Bantam draft.
I wonder what that is.
Guessing they like their scouts that are here.
Could be, yep. Okay, I'm going to have one guy looking at the USHL for... The USHL is mainly going to be college players, but we may get some of some junior players some guys who want to play junior filtering through there.
PY, if you win 460 million in the Powerball tonight, you can have a fairly large discussion about a lot of different things with us if you want.
Yeah. And let's see, I got one more guy here I want to assign. What haven't I pointed anybody to yet? I've got 1, 2. I'm going to put one more guy in WHL on the Bantam draft. And have him looking for quantity and potential. And there we go. And I think that should give us pretty decent coverage of the top guys in the draft. Now,
so you're putting all our scouts on permanent so they won't switch?
Yeah. So I won't have to go back and change them. I can always go back and change them manually. It's just a little less of a hassle that way. Now, training. I don't want... The goalies can only get one training category each. So I can have the younger guy and focused on one, the overager. It's a bit of a waste to train him. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on the our younger guys. You can see the rookies are marked with the asterisk, and the reason I'm mousing over all of these is just to find the guys with a lot of potential.
Another thing we should bring up
focusing on
as well.
Training. Go ahead.
Again, with our last video, but important to bring up again, the ratings. You will see, for the most part, a lot of the guys in the WHL, and even on the Wheat Kings, are rated fairly high. Don't forget, playing this, it's because we are a GM and coach in the Western Hockey League, so we're looking at everyone through those eyes and for the ratings.
Yeah.
So if you, for instance, look at this team and go, wow, this is amazing, I should draft all these guys to my NHL team. Well, they might not be that good in the NHL. Some might be, but not necessarily everybody.
Yeah, the star ratings are always relative to the league that you're currently working in. If you're not employed by any league, they're relative to the NHL. And one thing I'm just going to point out here that I did here, you can see the coaching bonus dropped from 20 down to 16. If I continue adding players to that in that category, it's going to drop further and further for each player. So I'm going to stop at 16. I want a fairly high bonus there. I can just throw out a little bit of mental category stuff where I can add somebody. I don't want to train the overage guys because the overagers are 20-year-olds that won't be able to play in the league anymore.
Series High Through and 2 says, I'm glad to see the training options. I was unfamiliar with this feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something it's something you need to play with a little bit to understand. At least that's my personal experience. You need to try and figure out what works best for you. And of course your assistant coaches can affect how many guys you can train as well too. Was that
Yep. Yeah, well, it affects the total bonus that you get. So I'm going to want everybody on a 16. I think I've done that now. One more for mental training. And you can see I'm kind of steering away from the guys who are like 3- and 4-star guys who are going to be NHL bound fairly soon. I'll let the NHL worry about training them. And drops it down to 19. I think that will be good there. One of the tricks to managing the major junior team is you've got the players are rotating out so quickly. Nobody's going to stay more than, say, 4 years in the league tops. Maybe, and for the really good guys, are going to be gone a lot sooner if you get an NHL first rounder. We've got a couple of those. Those guys will wind up signing an NHL contract, and they may or may not come back to you. They may be gone as soon as their 18, 19-year-old season. So we're lucky enough to have 1, 2, 3 guys under NHL contracts right now. If we were really lucky, New Jersey would have sent, or Philadelphia rather, would have sent Nolan Patrick back to us, but unfortunately that doesn't look like it's going to happen this season. And I think we are finally set up and ready to go there. Can you think of anything else we forgot to do?
We're good on assistant coaches, right? So I think probably not off the top of my head. Yep. I guess we could check the trade block in case there's somebody really interested.
Take a very quick look there. One 15-year-old Saskatoon is trying to move, but yeah, mostly younger guys. Nobody that's particularly interesting to us, I don't think. So let's just roll ahead, and I think we got no game today. I think we've got our lineup and strategy all set up. Yeah, we do. Oh, the goalie starts. Did I turn that on? Yes, I did. Bump up the backup start frequency slightly. So we've got a fairly good young goalie to... oh, he's 18. I thought he was older than that. Or younger than that, rather. But Miskey will probably be our starter next year, so we want to get him some starts this year. I think Thompson's started every game so far. Chat question, does the training option work in leagues such as junior leagues in Sweden and Finland? No, it's only in playable leagues, and none of those are playable yet. The training for non-playable leagues is handled a little bit differently, but it mathematically tends to work out the same. If you're playing a Swedish or Finnish higher level team, senior team, your players will be affected to some amount, even the ones that are owned by you and are currently playing on your junior team they will be affected to some degree by your coaching staff, though. And World Junior Championship coming up tomorrow night. Canada against Czechs. Any predictions?
Oh, what the Czech coach said the same thing as the Swiss coach. Yeah, I think. Not expecting. But yeah. I think the Czechs could upset them if Canada's not careful. I expect...
I'm thinking Canada, Sweden final.
Yeah, the U.S. looked okay, but they weren't impressing me that much over Russia.
Yeah, we spent a little while getting that set up, so I'm just going to sim through these fairly quickly. And we win in overtime, 4-3. Oh, looks like Miscue finally got a start. Played fairly well. So we're up to 7-1 on the season. And if you're not familiar with the major junior leagues, in addition to, we're obviously trying to win the WHL championship, but we've also got the Memorial Cup afterwards, so that the 3 league champions and host team, who I can't remember who is it this year anyhow. Can't remember offhand.
This year I think it's in Ontario, but let's see, 22.
Is it London again? No, I don't think so.
No. Oh, I'm totally wrong. It's in Regina.
Oh, it is Regina this year. Okay.
I was thinking it was in Ontario or Quebec.
I'm not sure the game will necessarily do that. I think it may randomize it, so we may not get Regina hosting this year. I think it will be a WHL team, but we'll see who it is. But anyhow, that's the big goal at the end of the season. You want to get into that tournament. Then there's a round-robin stage in that and a short playoff, and that's what you're really trying to win at this level. And nothing too interesting going on. And we got, you can see we've got 2 games back to back against Prince Albert up in northern Saskatchewan. And you'll see a fair bit of this in the WHL schedule. See Thompson starting for us again. And they're 2-3-2, so we should be able to do okay here. And yet we come out with a 2-1 win.
As expected. I don't think we should lose a single game this year.
Well,
other than we already lost.
Yeah, we lost one. It's a little late for that.
Other than the one we already lost.
But I was going to say, yeah, we had another game against Prince Albert, also in Brandon. Both of these games are going to be in Brandon the following day. They schedule it like that just so it's a little easier because these are high school age kids. Most of these guys are either in high school or some of them in started college. Makes it a little easier on them academically, so they can get the road trips tend to be relatively compact, and they're not driving up to northern Saskatchewan or Alberta several times over the course of the season. Or in this case, I mean, we're actually the easternmost team in the league, so it's more a case of other teams having trouble coming to visit us. And let's see if we can make it 2 games in a row. I think I'll watch it. It looks like Miscue, the backup, is in for this one again. Gonna play that one out. Play this one out quickly. And Miscue lets in the first shot through the 5-hole. That's not a good start. Easily out shooting him so far. I mean, we got him outgunned, but need to score a little bit. Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, out shooting him 18-8 through the first period, and we're losing 1-0. Come on, pick it up.
Should have just keep the Sims going, Jeff.
Yeah, screwed up by watching this one. Always works that way. Halfway through the game, out shooting him 25-8, so we're on track for 50 shots, and there we go. Lewis finally makes it 1-1. We don't seem to be dominating that much. We're winning a lot of games by 1 goal or in overtime, or I don't think we've really blown out many teams at all this season. And it's funny you'd say that. Gudu was saying in chat the Raiders logo looks a little dated. You should have seen the one before it. It's actually horribly offensive.
It is.
Yeah. And going into overtime. Same overtime rules as the NHL.
Actually, wait a second.
And we got a power play here, and...
All right.
And we wound up losing in the shootout. So dropped the point there. Not good. No, don't show the old Raiders logo.
I was looking, like, there's the one that's on the uniform. That's
no, I'm thinking you're thinking like I'm thinking of like the 70s and 80s one when they were still.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, the guy in the robe and the horribly offensive Arab stereotypes.
Yes. Surprisingly, the Arab Federation had a problem with it.
Oh, they actually complained about that? I hadn't
heard
that.
That was a couple of years ago. I think that's part of the reason why it happened.
I never understood that, why that was even the mascot. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Although it apparently goes back quite a ways. And
if you Google it, it comes up pretty fast there.
CSI312. Question from Neely in the chat. At what point are the young players being drafted computer-generated players? Generally, the first year it's predominantly going to be generated players will be, let me think, 14 for the 2021 draft, I think, but you will see some before that. But
Okay,
I think it switches to a majority of computer generated guys, either 2020 or 2021, one of those two.
2014 was the year that they put forward, and then there's some very flattering pieces online about people who have the issue with them, asking them to remove it.
It's not even a particularly attractive drawing. And wow, we got blown up by Regina, 6-1.
Yeah, there's this nice article here about the top 10 PA Raiders of all time.
I'm guessing Dan Hodgson, number 1, former Vancouver Canuck.
He was number 2.
Number 2, what was number 1?
Number 1 was former Star captain.
Oh, Modano.
Although he ended up not with Stars at the end of his career, was Mike Modano. Also, I would argue...
Should have been Hodgson had crazy numbers in the early 80s. Like, I think he was 180-something points one year.
Almost every offensive stat in goals, assists, points in career and single seasons. Dave Manson is number 3 according to this list. Jeff Nelson. Actually, I think number 7 on the list should actually be higher, to be perfectly honest, because he was a pretty dominant player. Was number 7 ranked on this is Josh Morrissey.
Yeah, he had a pretty good junior career.
Considering he got traded, I mean, yeah, his 60 goals for a defenseman, 175 points.
And we've lost 3 in a row now, if you count the shootout loss. Oh, great, now we got another injury. We're starting to pick up injuries, and we're getting a ton of losses. Strength.
I forgot Leon Draisaitl played with him, too.
Yep.
But yeah, you can look at that logo and go, that's probably not a logo that should be.
I think that goes way back. I remember seeing it in WHL guides like in the early 80s, so that goes back to when they were still a Saskatoon Junior League Junior A team before moving to the WHL.
Yeah, it was founded in '72, I think so.
Yeah, they actually came into the WHL the same team in the same season, the old Kelowna Wings, who lasted all of, I think, was it 4 years here? Because they were playing in the old tiny arena and couldn't make any money, and eventually moved to Spokane. But Kelowna and Prince Albert came into the league at the same time, and then it was a few years before we got a real team and got our another team back, and that's the current Rockets. And yeah, got some injury problems here. We're losing games. What do I want to do here? Okay, if we don't win this one against Victoria, I'm going to have to look at doing a little slightly more serious changes.
The
okay,
Pirate one
and
is
we come up
still in
2-1.
use some. But yeah, typically it's now the Sword is kind of the more current one, which is what's on the jersey.
Yeah. Wheat Kings have a nice logo.
They do. They have a nice alternate.
That was updated, a few seasons ago. I'd say it hasn't been yet. It was never that bad, but this one is nice in particular.
Did you change that logo? Because the logo pack I have has the current logo. Or has the Sword.
Nope. Maybe we just use different logo packs.
Interesting. Or maybe we installed them different times and that's what caused it.
Could be, yeah. Maybe they got updated. I don't think I took the old one.
Yeah, the Wheat Kings alternate jerseys I also really like.
So yeah, 2-1 win against Victoria. They were still, I think, in first place in the East. I'll check that in a second. Trading deadline is not until the beginning of January, so we got lots of time to make moves if we decide we want to make a playoff push, and I think that's pretty likely. Go ahead.
Although I think Jeff should change his logo to this one because it still creeps me out.
Which one is that? I can't look it up in the middle of the...
This is the 74 logo that looks like... it looks like a piece of wheat with 2 eyes and a crown on top.
Okay. So it's like terrifying. Anthropomorphic wheat.
It's terrifying. Let's pulling up the secondary logo here, which I also... the Brandon Wheat King logo. is also very nice, the BWK.
And a small deal, we may have one of our... Schneider's almost ready to be back. I don't want to push him. He's only 16. He's going to be our big star in another season or so, so I don't want to risk hurting him and screwing up his development. And we got no games today. No, I don't want to hurt. I don't want to risk hurting him.
You lose a guy likely to an international tournament as well shortly.
What international tournament?
I don't know, but I have a guy gone away to it. I'm a couple days ahead of you, and he's gone to international play.
Bukac or somebody else?
No, it's Braden Schneider.
What international tournament is going on? Is there a...
Late October.
Is it U17? No, it's not. No, that doesn't get played till... Is it the Linka? No, that's summer. It's kind of weird.
There's no easy way to tell.
Yeah, you just have to look through the different international tournaments. Okay, did we get... Now Gutenberg is still out. No, Schneider is still out too. And we got Prince Albert again today. Checking the standings quickly, and we dropped down to third because Regina's apparently having a pretty good year. And Moose Jaw slipped a bit.
Oh, there it is. It's a World Under-17 Hockey Challenge.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's in the Under-17s. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that would explain it.
Sim that quickly.
Good creative.
And the Raiders beat us 4-3.
Did you see that the modern Blackhawks uniform was voted the greatest in NHL history?
Well, that's good. I don't know if it's necessarily the greatest, but...
I don't agree with it being the greatest. I mean, clearly the pink Vancouver Canucks jerseys were better.
They were not pink. I actually was looking for, thinking about picking up a new jersey over Christmas and stumbled across that version. Somebody was selling it on, was that Amazon or eBay, but it was like a small...
Selling it or paying someone to take it away?
No, they were actually selling it. It was the small only, so it's not going to fit me, so I had to pass on it, but... if I could find a bigger one, I'd still seriously consider...
It is an awful jersey, I'm sorry. I don't know. I think the Red Wings is probably actually the most classic jersey, just because it hasn't really changed, doesn't need to really change.
Yeah, Montreal too.
Yeah, Montreal, they've kind of changed just how the red and blues are.
Yeah, I mean, the proportions slightly changed, but they stick to pretty much the same design. I've always liked it.
Their away jersey is 100 times better than some of their home jerseys over time.
And we're back to a 5-2 win. Trying to get the backup goalie a little bit hot. That would be good.
Oh, you did? Did you lose the guy or no? I didn't.
Lose what guy? Oh, great. We just lost Ty Lewis for 10 days. Guessing that's not who you were asking about?
No, Schneider. Schneider left your game.
Yeah, no, Schneider's back in. But I don't think we're as far ahead as you had been, as you were.
No, you are now. I was only on the 27th.
What's my schedule? Am I going to get one of these guys back before I have to play again? Oh, I've got a few days off here, so I think I'll be able to sub one of these guys in for Lewis. I'll see a sign in the chat. The Kootenay Ice logo may give me nightmares. That's Oh, just the abominable snowman, or I guess I know that's. Or is that supposed to be the Sasquatch? I think it's supposed to be the Sasquatch because that was the Kokanee beer mascot, and I think they partially owned the team, or brewery does. Can't remember.
Well, okay, let's Google and find out.
I don't think that's
Google says
Gutenberg's still.
Oh, that's right. The guys from Winnipeg bought Kootenay here last year. It was owned by the Chenoweth family since 1995.
And okay, yeah, it looks like we're going to get Gutenberg back before we need to call anybody up. Oh, that little break in the schedule hit it just right now. No, Miskew got hurt? What happened to him? Somehow cut his thumb in practice, so we got to find another goalie.
That's pretty bad.
Wait, have I got no... I only got 2 goalies signed? That's not good. That is bad. Okay. Oh, we got a 16-year-old playing midget in Alberta. See, one nice thing about playing as a junior team, the contracts are sort of abstracted because these guys aren't actually technically getting paid. I'm going to have to put him on the injury list. So guys will automatically sign a contract with you for the nominal $3,000 amount whenever you make an offer. And Kruger doesn't seem like that bad of a backup, so... Okay, Lewis comes out. Gutenberg goes in. I'm just going to shuffle the line, let the coach pick the new lines. Why don't I have enough players? What have I done?
Did the guy go to the international tournament? No.
Oh, I've got 19 out of 20 dressed. Am I missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Oh, I forgot to dress the backup goalie. That's why. Theo's still staying on the right side. Yeah, I think that's fine. And Kruger, the backup goalie signing. Okay. Continue forward a little bit, and hopefully one of those guys will be completely healthy by the time we get to another game.
Fingers crossed.
And another feature of the WHL schedule, you will get these little breaks occasionally. There's a fairly long one over Christmas too, again, just to be a little easier on the younger guys. Development report.
And good since guys are gone to World Juniors.
Yep. Yeah, that's another thing. You'll get players called up to various tournaments, as Adam mentioned earlier in the middle of the season, so we will have to call guys up at various points to fill them in. This guy wants number 1. He's not getting number 1. He can have number 30.
The good thing, too, is when you see development reports, you're probably rarely going to see guys going down.
Yeah, if you got, well, if somebody's starting to decline at age 20, that's pretty rare. You may see it later in the game if you get pretty far in and you get somebody with some really freakish generated numbers, but even then it's very unlikely. As long as you've got reasonably competent coaching staff, it shouldn't happen ever when you're playing a junior team as a junior team. I got some news coming up. I think I'll check the trading block again when we get back. This is kind of showing me that we're maybe not quite as deep as I thought we were. And I think we're on a road trip once we get back to this game. Or the next game, rather. And saving now, of course. And that's just my slow system taking a little while to catch up. Any day now. Should probably defragment the hard drive at some point.
Dun, dun, dun.
Almost done. Okay, what's going on here? Board confidence update and great success. Team is in outstanding shape and pretty happy with our records. So doing great there. Gutenberg is almost back. Trade between Tri-City and Portland. Not 100% healthy yet. Well, we don't play until tomorrow. I guess we're still at home. Oh yeah, we got a little home. Oh, we had been on the road. So early November in Brandon. Did you have snow in Manitoba at this point?
There was, okay, let me think. Early November, there was a light dusting, but not very much.
Okay, so not too bad yet. I won't ask how it is now, because I think the whole country is frozen.
We don't have a lot of snow in Manitoba.
No? No, we got a ton here. It's been snowing since Christmas.
I think most people here would actually be okay with some snow. There's a lot of land, a lot more snow on it.
Okay, Weinger's almost back, so we're going to get our other overager back. And when I'm saying overager, it's the guys who are in their 20-year-old season. We can only keep 3 of them on the roster at a time. And Lewis, who's actually having kind of a weak scoring season, he's doing much better in real life. Maybe you have to look at his ice time when he comes back. And we will sim this game. And 6-3 Wheat Kings win. Couple assists for Tanner Kaspick. So good to see the offense getting going there. On Matheos had a hat trick. So back into second in the second in the Eastern Division, but Swift Current's got 3 games in hand over us, so we may yet lose that spot. But this is, I think, we're more or less in exactly the same position the real Wheat Kings are so far this season. They're going to have a tough time getting out of the conference. There's at least 2 teams that are as good as them, probably maybe slightly better. So really depends on injuries and maybe late season pickups. They've got about a month to. Oh no, not even a month. That's January. They've only got about a week to make some trades and pick up somebody for the playoff run. And Weinger is still not quite ready. We keep getting the almost 100% reports. And Lewis is down to day-to-day, so I think this game against Kootenay, another back-to-back one. If we blew them out last time, I will assume we did okay this time. Yep, 4-2. Cale Clegg, goal and assist. So I think we're back on track here despite the injuries, and the injuries should start to clear up the next little while. We got a couple more games in this homestand here. And Weinger is back. Edmonton Everett make a trade. Oh, and you can see sometimes when I'm going through this, you'll see the little number code here. That's just because I've got troubleshooting mode turned on, because still testing stuff occasionally in the game. You won't see that in a normal game.
Unless you have it turned on.
Unless you have it turned on, yeah. You probably shouldn't do that unless we ask you to for some reason. Okay, somebody needs to sit out here now that Weinger is healthy again. Probably a right wing. Let's see, Bettens hasn't done much this season. How about Thompson's been okay. Yeah, I think Bettens sits. And let the AI do the lines. Swap Thompson and Wegleitner, I think. Other than that, looks good. I think we got 2 games left in this, yeah. Oh, we've actually got a whole week off here, beginning of November. So I probably didn't need to do that because we're probably getting Lewis back by the end of this. So we'll just go through to the end of that. And if anybody anybody missed it over the holidays, because I think we actually posted on Facebook Christmas Eve, wasn't it? We did a little experiment in the game with Justin Bieber. We rated him and put him on the Leafs for a season just as a trial to see how he would do playing on their top line. And the answer is, not surprisingly, not that good. Theoretically,
or as well as expected.
Well, yeah. He had 1 assist in, I think it was 71 games.
Something like that.
So, if you're ever wondering, it's probably not a good idea for the Leafs to sign Bieber. But now you know.
You say it's probably a good idea?
Probably not a good idea.
Or a great idea? Depends if you're a Leafs fan.
Yeah, if you don't particularly like the Leafs, it may be a great idea.
Exactly.
Okay, I think the roster is almost totally healthy other than the backup goalie. And we should have him back in another week or so. It's a nice thing with these breaks in the WHL schedule. You got time to get guys healthy.
Yeah.
We play a 72-game schedule, so it's not quite as intensive as the NHL. What's on schedule for next week? Are you going to do the Seattle game, or do you have something else for us?
No. We'll be back with our Florida Panthers game.
Oh, back to the Panthers. Okay.
Yes. Now, the Seattle game is not going to be all the time, or it'll be weekday. Feel like it. Heck, there might be an episode tomorrow for all I know. We'll see what happens. Unless Jeff is interested about what's happening 5 or 6 years ahead of time. And you never know, we might get fired anyways, because our owner is very harsh on us.
Yeah, it's the thing with expansion teams. You get a random owner, so you may get a guy who's a little tough on you.
Yeah, we brought in Alex Ovechkin to play on our 4th line, so we'll see how that goes.
He must be, what, about 40 by that point?
No, he's only 35. We're 2021.
Okay. 40 or 35 with a lot of mileage. And we lose 4-3 to Saskatoon.
We just want him to come 12 minutes a night and do his job.
Behind the power play.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Says, oh, back to the Panthers. Yeah, we want to win a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers.
And back up, not quite ready yet. Well, looks like the kid we signed did get one game and goal and wound up winning. Take a quick look at the stats. Theos is doing fine. Lewis really disappointing production-wise. Anybody else standing out? Schneider doing okay. Clegg playing well. Just look, what am I doing with the... Oh, don't tell me he got hurt again. Oh, I forgot to dress him. That would probably not help his production.
Well, it should be perfect at that point.
And I'm going to bump the ice time of the first line up a little bit. They're probably not going to actually get 23 minutes a game, but it'll give them probably another shift or two. Yeah, Gudu's optimistic. This will be the year when we finally witness a championship-winning stream. Haven't had one of those yet, have we?
No. It's going to happen, though. Or the Kraken are going to win. By the way, do you know who won the 2021 Cup in my Seattle game? Did you see that, Jeff?
I'm assuming it's the Jets, otherwise you wouldn't mention it.
It was, but, you know, since we took Connor Hellebuck in that game because... Always, he got up to 4-star goalie, and he was going to go play in the KHL. But guess who the Jets goalies were? Neither one of them is currently on the team, but they're both currently NHL goalies. And
Luongo?
No, Luongo actually just retired the year before. He was 41.
Oh, he played out his contract. That's good.
Ended up with Washington at the end. Luongo. But the two guys who were going for the Jets were Henrik Lundqvist and Semyon Varlamov.
Oh, okay.
$15 million tied up in goaltending.
Maybe slightly over the hill, but hey, if it worked for him. And we beat the Hitmen 5-4. That is the end of our little homestand there, so I think we're back on the road now. On the bus, head across the prairie. And we are 100% healthy again.
Excellent.
Take a quick look at the Bantam draft page. And you can see that the top guys we've got all scouted to at least down to about the 15th or 16th one. We've got scouted to A level. So that's good, and when that's probably going to, the rest of them should be starting to fill in fairly soon. Kid from Edmonton in the #1 spot. And remember, you won't see any of those guys for another couple of years after the draft. So that's another challenge to planning your team when you're playing in the WHL. It's kind of hard to instantly fix things through the draft.
Well, that's why you see more trades.
Yeah. And you really have to build in a bit of a cycle. Sometimes you just have to take a developmental year and go with younger guys, knowing that they'll be much better relative to the rest of the league once the other teams lose some of their older players. And first game of the road trip, Sask Place Arena. I should probably remember to set that. No, I did set the goalie. And we beat the Blades 3-2 in overtime. Have I not got... Oh, I don't have them set. There we go. I'd like to see a few more of our guys get going scoring-wise, although that's not going to complain too much when we're 14-5.
No, we can complain a lot, but
Yeah.
good to creative in the chat says that's a lot of 5-star talent.
Remember, though, when you're looking at it from the perspective of a junior league, that's how good the guy will get eventually relative to your league. He may not ever hit 5 stars when he's going to be leaving the league when he's at the latest 20 years old.
Yeah.
So if you get 1 or 2 of those guys hitting 5 stars while they're still in the league, that would be a pretty strong draft year. So you can see, I'll show it in a second when we get back to our roster. The best guy we've got right now is 3.5 stars. We've got 1, 2, 3 guys with 5-star potential, and maybe by the end of this year one of these guys is going to hit 4 stars, but 5 is fairly unlikely. So once they're getting that good, they're probably going to get called up to the NHL permanently.
That is the danger.
Yeah, and off to Swift Current for the next game, which isn't Swift Current closer to Brandon than Saskatoon is? Or am I backwards?
We talked about this before. Saskatoon is the closest.
All right, yeah. You're right.
Good
Okay,
Creative
so
says,
that's a
has
logical
Canada name their Olympic roster yet? No, they're naming in exactly 1 week's time, I believe.
Yeah, so we get to see the collection of KHL guys and I guess a few Swiss League ones.
Let me rephrase this for Jeff. We get to see a bunch of ex-Vancouver make up Team Canada.
Pretty much, yeah. You know, everyone to see Andrew Abbott play for Team Canada. Now you're going to get your chance. Wonder if Raymond will make it.
Probably.
Probably wouldn't be bad on the big international ice. You can do that thing where he skates around the offensive zone and doesn't actually do anything with the puck. Lots of room for that. Oh, I was going to check the trading block.
He was promising still need to shoot, but...
And trading block is almost totally empty now, 1.5 star guys, so we've got nothing to do with that.
Should we be putting anybody up on the block?
No, the guys that aren't playing for us right now are the younger ones, so they're going to eventually move in there. Oh, Whitnick, yeah, 2 stars. I will see if we can get anything for him. Should I shop him or should I just put him on the block and see if we get anything? I think I'm just going to put him on the block right now.
Shop Nolan Patrick.
That's cheating. Because he's not coming back to the league and the AI doesn't know it.
We don't know that.
Yeah, you can see, there we go. There's Patrick. He's 4.5 stars relative to the WHL. And how's he doing? He's actually off to a terrible start with the Flyers. So, I mean, that'd be fantastic if they sent him back down, yeah.
Oh, we don't have a contract, so we can't even offer him around the league.
All right, yeah, you can't offer rights like that, so no, you can't cheat that way.
It's not cheating, it's legal loopholing.
Exploiting the poor AI.
Poor AI. Yeah, it takes you to town in just about any chance it gets.
Like you found that little loophole with the valuation for Austin Matthews in the last year of his contract in the Panthers game and somehow wound up with him.
That was pure accident. I didn't go looking for that. Not just random occurrence.
And a few more. Oh, I didn't realize it was getting that late. We'll just get us up to our next game here. We'll play one last game, I think, and finish up here.
Oh, jeez, it's already past the top of the hour. Didn't even realize it.
Yeah, we got a game tomorrow against Saskatoon. See that? Now that is definitely weird because we've gone... How did the schedule go here? We went... Drive from Brandon to Saskatoon. Oh, this is back home. Okay, that makes more sense. So we drove to Saskatoon, then to Swift Current, and then we were going to go back to Saskatoon and play again. But it's actually all back in Brandon. We've got another homestand here, so let's quickly play this one. Hopefully we'll have a big game. And we lose in overtime. Not what we were looking for. So I think we will hold up here. We got Swift Current tomorrow night. I'll just advance to that, but I won't actually play it. And we finish this broadcast up second in the East. And where are we? Third overall in the league. So you can see how good that Eastern Division is. We're second, and 3 of the top 4 teams in the league are there. And Moose Jaw is also they've got a strong team. They should be doing a little better than that once they pick up. That'll probably fix them. Wow, Kelowna's bad. Didn't notice that. Okay, do you want to wind it up there, Adam, and let everybody know there's...
Sure. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in to another Franchise Hockey Manager 4 stream. We stream every night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OOTP Developments, although we occasionally do other streams. You can find out when we do streams if you follow us on our Twitter page, which is @FranchiseHockey. You can join our Discord. There's a link on our Twitter page, or there's a link below this video if you're on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/OOTP Developments. And you can find us on Facebook. We're facebook.com/FranchiseHockeyManager. Or if you want to come talk to us about Franchise Hockey Manager, MLB Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, or anything else, come on down to our official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, and that'll bring you to our official website. If you're watching this on YouTube, you missed our 50% off holiday sale. What were you doing that you missed it? Sale ends tomorrow as of this video, so if in our chat right now, and you haven't bought it, what are you doing? Go up. It's $19.99 USD.
Yeah, 50% off. I think that ends, was it 9 o'clock tomorrow morning Western time?
It ends in about 12 hours.
Yeah, it ends very soon, put it that way.
Yes.
Now is the time to get it, or Out of the Park Baseball also on sale as well.
Yes.
So, act now. I think I'm not sure when the next time we'll be on sale is, because it's a little bit of a wait for the next Steam sale to come around. But actually had a very good Christmas sales-wise for us, so that's good news. And I think we'll wind it up there. So thank you for coming out. We will be back next week, I guess, with the Florida Panthers. So we will see you all next Wednesday, hopefully.